I'm the son of a third-generation farmer. I've been married 10 years to the farmer's daughter. I'm a God-fearing, hard-working combine driver, hogging up the road on my plower, chugga-lugga-lugging 5 miles an hour on my international harvester.
This is Kyle Sievert for WPIC. I'm here with Andy Eady. He's a local farmer in Baltimore, Ohio. How you doing?
Pretty good.
All right. We're gonna start out. How long has your family been farming?
This farm here was actually bought by my great-grandfather. My grandfather was the first one to move here, and they moved here in 1930, and they farmed just south of here prior to that.
And how many acres you guys farm?
We got about 450 acres of that we crop farm, about 160 acres of beans and corn generally, and about 40 acres of hay, and then we farm the rest of it in wheat.
All right, can you give us a brief summary of how harvesting is done?
Generally once the corn's matured, which this year was a little later than normal, but sometime around the 1st of October is generally when it's ready. That's when you want to get in and get it harvested before the corn goes down the ground. Is one of the things that's always a struggle, and especially this year. But basically the head goes through the rows and strips actually the ear off of the stalk itself. It doesn't take the whole stalk through the combine. Then the whole ear of corn is ran through the combine and goes through cylinder and concave, and that's basically where the corn is threshed off the cob, and then the husk as well. And then in the machine itself, there's a separation system that separates the kernels of corn once they're shelled off the cob, and basically takes them into the bin for storage until it's dumped into the wagon or truck, whatever it would be. And then the trash is the husk, and the cob itself is exited out the back of the combine through a chopper.
What happens to the crops after they're harvested?
After they're taken from the field, most farmers will try to store as much of the grain they can in grain bins on the farm. Some people have enough on-farm storage for everything that they harvest. We almost have enough, but during the fall season, we'll have to haul some, depending on how good the crop is. We'll have to haul some into market. We haul most of ours to up on Hamilton Road to ADM, or we hauled over to Thurston on the other side of Baltimore. And basically from there, at both those sites, it's loaded onto rail carts and transported elsewhere outside of this region. And then the corn that we do, or corn or beans that we do put into bins on the farm, most of that is moved in the spring, early winter, late spring, or early springtime to the same locations.
Can you give us a few products of what the grain goes into?
There's multiple different food products. The corn goes into. A lot of your cereals will have it in it, but most of our corn right around here goes into livestock feed. So without the livestock industry in Ohio and throughout the Midwest, there wouldn't be a good market for corn. So it's important to have the livestock to feed it to. And then of course one of the things that's coming on here recently in the last several years are putting it into ethanol plants. And I know we don't have any local here that we can haul to, but south and western and northwestern Ohio have those ethanol plants.
About how many bushels per acre do you get?
An average yield around here with the soils and conditions we're given with, it all kind of depends on other variables as well, as far as your soil fertility and drainage in the fields and soil types. But around here we'll get 150, 160 bushel generally. You can some years we've pushed 200, and there's other parts in the state where they can get 200 on an average year.
Was this year below average with all the rain we had in the spring, or is it above what it usually is?
Actually, this year was quite a surprise. Most of the corn around here wasn't planted until first week of June. Some got in a little bit earlier, but this year was pretty much average and slightly above average for ourselves, which is was highly unexpected, I guess, given the time we got it planted and the wet conditions we probably planted in. But with the warm, hot days we had this year and the growing days we had, and the moisture to go along with it, it really it picked up. Over that time, it picked up the growing days that it needed to make it happen this year. So it was pretty much on average. So.
All right. Can you give us a few facts about the combine? How much it holds for it needs to unload, bushel wise? Or?
Sure. This is only a 4-row head. Most of them you'll see anymore 6 to 8 rows. We've got a couple 12 rows around the county that people run. Basically, the bin itself on the combine holds about 120, 130 bushel of corn before it needs to be unloaded. Depending on the field size, that's basically, you can get the fields we have around here, you can get 1 round, then you have to dump. And it also depends a little bit on the moisture of the corn. Obviously, the more moisture you got in that corn, the quicker that bin's going to fill up.
All right. What is your favorite part about farming, your favorite job?
Oh, I think anytime you get to drive equipment is fun, but most generally I like harvesting, bringing in the crop to grow. You get to watch it, from planting to all the way through the summer and growing and maturing, and it's definitely a pleasure to take in the crops as long as the conditions are right. This year was a little bit of a struggle. You don't like going through a field and muddying it up, and it becomes part of a little bit of a headache to find a good couple days to run crops, but I think harvesting is probably what I enjoy the most.
All right, well, this is Kyle Sievert with WPIC, and I'd like to thank you for your time, Andy.
Thank you.